The May Melee quarterfinals continue on here at the Overwatch League. Already been a crazy day of Overwatch, but now might just be getting a little bit crazier, where we get to see the Gladiators take on the Philadelphia Fusion. And Jake, I have to say, this could be a close one.
Yeah, you know, the Gladiators, they had to fight. They had to get some wins just to get to this point. You know, Philly is the higher-seeded team, but I have to agree with you, ZP. I don't think this is going to be an easy one for the Fusion. You know, if they are favored, it's got to be a close one. And it's interesting because, especially for Philly, you know, last time they played, they were bringing in some second-string rosters, you know, trying out some different looks. You know, so we actually don't really know. I think we don't have a good idea, no recent history as far as how do they perform, you know, with this new meta coming out for the lack of hero pools, but also with Echo, it's just been, they have such a limited sample size as far as their playtime with their best roster on those compositions.
Well, I think the thing you have to look at, too, is that even though the Gladiators have been struggling going into this May Melee tournament, I think they looked a whole lot better yesterday, where you can go, okay, their opposition was a little bit weaker, how good are the Justice really? I think this is still a Gladiators team with a lot of talent, and they've had to go through that period of retuning and figuring things out again, so I don't think it's crazy to see them taking the Fusion to task to a degree here today.
Yeah, I think what it might come down to is going to be the compositional strengths of both teams. You know, the Gladiators, they've been so effective playing these fast dive comps, building around OGs, Winston, Spaces, D.Va. That has allowed players like Mirror, I think, to really shine, especially as Birdring is in form. They have no trouble getting people down to half and letting Mirror clean up with that focusing beat.
Well, you take a look at the Gladiators starting lineup here. Not too much has changed in the course of a day, but I completely agree where I think that they've finally hit some really good synergy between Mirror and Birdring. And also, you look at the front line. The front line for the Gladiators has been fantastic. OG looked incredibly strong yesterday, and it wasn't just OG, right? It was everyone playing around him. I do feel like the Gladiators have hit more of a stride, but no one is going to believe that unless they do well against the Fusion here today.
Yeah, this is really their moment to put that improvement to the test as they go up against a team that has looked as dominant as any in North America.
Well, you take a look at the Fusion starters. A few surprises here where Fusion, of course, last time people saw them, they were mixing things up. They had Chips in the lineup, so it was sort of a series where people were going, okay, they're up against Vancouver, they're messing around. But this is interesting to me, to see a early lineup here with Ivy and Hisu.
Yeah, I mean, to imagine Carpe not starting on this team is a huge shock. I mean, this is a player, Carpe, who, you know, many people have in their conversation for MVP already in this part of the season. And I mean, that's well-deserved, right? I think no matter what happens this season, Carpe will be in that conversation. Like, he's just that level of player that delivers insane results on pretty much anything he plays. Seems to be a permanent starter, but, you know, he's part of the reason that Hisu joined this squad, having a lot of faith in Hisu's ability. So maybe it's time for Hisu to step up, and potentially we'll get to see some hero pool differentiation between those two players.
And now we look towards our first map. It's going to be Lijiang Tower to kick everything off, and couldn't agree more on that. And I just think it's also terrifying to the rest of the league if Fusion goes in here, rips map 1 away from the Gladiators, and then can just add on for good measure. Oh, yeah, by the way, we did that without Carpe. Our roster is just that deep. On the other hand, the Gladiators come out here and take this one away. I think some people will be questioning the Fusion and go, well, why didn't you play Carpe? Someone that's in the running to be MVP this year, who's been having a fantastic season. You don't run him in map 1 in a key tournament. I don't know. So this is sort of PR-wise, a little bit high risk, high reward for the Fusion, I'd say.
Yeah, and I would say Carpe, a player who also is known for being an insanely dominant Widowmaker, was one of the first players, I think, to really take that hero to the next level in the inaugural season of the Overwatch League. So, you know, despite the meta seeming to be mostly based around Ashe, Tracer, those sort of heroes, I'll be interested to see if, especially going into, you know, off the control map type as we get deeper into the series, does Carpe come out for those long-range Widow duels? You know, Dallas Fuel popularized that, I think, but then the Shock, you know, took them to task, took the mirror on that Widow. So I think those players who are really comfortable on the hero, who really like it and prefer it, are capable of bringing it out and making it successful, even in the meta that seems to favor Ashe's shield-breaking potential.
Yeah, and I think Widow's emergence here is pretty interesting. We've been seeing Widow get played more and more the last few days, and I mean, if people were wondering, hey, should we run Widow? Decay obviously made a very, very good case yesterday. Of course, not as big of a case here today. The fuel knocked out of it, but seeing what develops here should be interesting, particularly for the Fusion, where, again, they've been mixing up the rosters so heavily over the last few weeks. I do wonder what they consider to be their best look.
Right now, Ivy on the sim. What's really interesting, though, is going to be seeing if Mirror and Hisu switch off this sim. What do they go to? Seems like the Gladiators are setting up for a rush-based composition, running that Reaper, where the Mei on the other side, as well as the BAP, giving Fusion a bit of a spam damage advantage. So the Gladiators going to need to end this one quickly. Wow, Doomfist and Reaper, so this is going to be all-in aggression onto Hisu.
I like this, given that Mirror, one of his best heroes, is Doomfist, and immediately diving over to the Fusion, and just like that, Big Goose sends Ivy off the ledge. Murdering, though, a little bit deep. 5-on-5, the Fusion not out of it just yet. Her Big Goose really coming in big for the Gladiators here. Unexpected, but the Goose is loose. And the Gladiators.
Yeah, Mirror overextends, though, so still a bet. Retake potential for the Fusion is online.
And it's kind of messy here between both teams. The trade-outs back and forth. Space, though. Moving to his counterpart on the other end, chasing it down. Poco nowhere to go. And the Gladiators still trading out a little bit more effectively here. Fusion still contesting back towards the point. Birdring back into the fray. So is Mirror, and OG gets Ivy. And this is looking like it should be the Glads with the first control.
Yeah, a little bit of a crazy mid-fight, but it's really all Big Goose. I think those two boobs taking down the enemy DPS players. You can't ask for more than that, and that's the power of this Doomfist Reaper comp, right? They charge straight into the enemy choke point on the bridge. Philly has no choice but to fight on their bridge, and that's one of the most vulnerable places in the game to those Lucio boobs. So Big Goose capitalizes and allows his team to take mid. Now with Coalescence, the question is, can Alarm get more value out of this Amp Matrix? I think it's going to be tough to deal with the Cole.
Yeah, particularly the way that Fusion is approaching here, where Cole can just strike multiple members at the same time. OG was thinking about going for the Shatter, holds on to it for now. Beat is down, and so is the Shadow. Shadow, though, gets very little. Fusion, meanwhile, they punish OG for the attempt. Fusion up 6-on-5. Hisu with room to work with. Here, though, equalizing, finds Ivy in the back as Big Goose gets another boop! Big Goose continuing to keep things even for the Gladiators, but I don't think it's going to be enough this time.
It's still close, though. Supports have a potential to stall this out just a little bit. It seems like Gladiators wants a soft reset, and using the sound barrier to just all-in commit to this fight. OG, though, he's taking so much damage. Barrier's already peeled off him, and Hisu has no fear. There's no enemy DPS to suppress him, and that will be a retake for Philly off the back of a nice shatter by Sato, right? Put Birdring on the ground, and ooh, the Goose is loose today.
If I'm the Fusion, I just start avoiding the environment. This is wild.
He's going for that boob world record right there.
Yeah, this is nuts. Big Goose going, it's been a while since I've had player of the match. Can I get it today, please? All right, making the case.
What I will say now is against the rush comp, this Blizzard couldn't be more impactful. So, but they're not even going to need it. What a disgusting Halt Fire Strike. Sato and Poco combining, and Shaz, he knows there's no hope. That ult makes no difference when all your teammates are dead. So, what a Halt Fire Strike combo, showing why Alarm is picking the Batiste. That's really the reason, is building around this Halt Fire Strike. You don't have anybody else in the lineup who actually is going to utilize the Amp Matrix, but the power to just one-shot your opponents can't be underestimated.
I was taking a page out of Atlanta's book earlier in the season, where Amp Matrix Fire Strike a lot deadlier than expected, especially in that sort of circumstance where the Fire Strike, it's not really going to miss. You have a bunch of people going down a very small corridor. Birdring now on the setup. He's teleporting to the back. Death Blossom ready. He's not seeing the death. Earth Shatter setting it up as Birdring completes and connects. But it's really OG that made that happen. Birdring was just the finishing touch.
Yeah, what a disgusting shatter by OG. Drops everyone on the ground. Sato going to be kicking himself after that one. Would have loved to block that up, because look at all these ultimates that the Fusion weren't able to utilize. The Supercharger, so much more effective when you're holding position than when you're trying to move in and retake. So he's really going to be missing the opportunity to get that one down. We'll see if Sato has another big shatter in store for us, though. That could always turn it. And, you know, the Supercharger, while a little bit less effective in this situation, is still going to enable the Philly Fusion here to smash the shield of OG, especially with no Orisa on his side. It's just Space's D.Va to protect him.
I think OG just needs to be a little bit more defensive. Sato, though, getting focused early on, drops the shatter under pressure. And there's Hisu getting to the back. 3 for the Fusion on the retake. So both Reapers finding some good moments here. Fusion going to be recapping. But this will bring us, Jake, to our final fight, and it's very close between both teams.
And this is an interesting situation, right? Because both teams have been fully reset on the ultimate economy. So there's no clear victor, I would say, in terms of the initiation power. Biggest difference maker is going to be Alarm's Coalescence. Should be up pretty quick into the fight, but no one has that instant pop an ult and go. So this fight is going to be all about who can build up their ults a little more quickly as the brawl breaks down. To that end, the Gladiators do have a slight edge in terms of charge.
I think it comes down to Mirror. If Mirror can get a quick pick, that would make all the difference in the world. Feast or famine, the Doomfist way. Mirror goes for the punch, misses. Sato off the map! Sato off the map! And now the Fusion, they take down Shaz, but down a main tank, the Glads with a huge advantage. Mirror, the punch to the side, takes down Poco. And the Gladiators on the retake. And now Fusion, I'm not even sure they can delay.
What a heads-up meteor strike there from Mirror. Shunts Funny Astro off the map, and yeah, Sato's here to delay, but he's not even going to get the touch. Perfect CC. Oh no, he does get the touch, but you know, everyone is burning him down, and contesting 1v6 into this comp is basically worst case scenario. The Brawl comp is one of the most effective in the game when it's just holding point and trying to cancel your stall out. Blizzard does come in, but Goose has a sound barrier, Shaz has the Coalescence, so this is just a formality really. Philly, they're going to keep it going, but odds of winning here below 1%.
It's not particularly good, and we're past the era of GOATs, but if you're to run something similar to the GOATs and solidifying your advantage on control when you're up numbers, it would be what the Gladiators are running right now. Fusion, though, doing a good job of keeping it in contest, and the longer this goes, the more crazy things can happen, the more that someone like Funny Astro could boop a few people off the side. For the Gladiators, who stay very, very far away from the edge, you don't leave that open as an opportunity. As Fusion, though, continue to delay.
Yeah, Sato did a great job, but look how long these OT spawns are. He just came up again, and now the D.Va Poco does fall, so Coalescence comes in for Fusion.
OG and Mirror in danger. This could be starting to get flipped. The Fusion, they're back to full strength. They're hanging back to a point as full 6. The Gladiators somehow don't finish off enough. They let the Fusion back into the fight. This shouldn't have happened in any way, shape, or form. The delay kept happening. The Glads don't get the finishing kills. And guess what? The Gladiators aren't going to be getting the delay in return.
Oh my god.
How or why?
Oh, that's so painful. Sato was being such a huge nuisance on the wrecking ball, just dancing around, but the Gladiators crumbling there in the end. I mean, there's just no way you should give up the win in a situation like that. I mean, you're getting free kills just as the enemy comes to stall point. That's just a little bit of a beef there from the Gladiators. That round was all theirs, and I think it was kind of there just throwing it away there. They, you know, one time there I saw Alarm drop to 1 HP and he just hid for 10 seconds or something. So they're just not finding those finishing kills on the player's stalling point, getting maybe overly distracted, trying to take down Sato's Hammond, who, to his credit, did an obscene job, just permanently spinning to win, up on the high ground so he's far away from the Reaper. Great work by the Philly Fusion to somehow claw their way back, but Gladiators going to be really kicking themselves for that one.
Anytime you have a play like that, it's always a two-sided equation where the Fusion did a great job to delay, but the Gladiators, as you said, it was a big beef. But now, into the next round here, Control Center. OG already super low, the Fusion heavy on Focus Fire. Focus Fire goes back the other way. OG able to get healed. Now, a little bit more even between the sides. Both Reinhardt's under very heavy pressure. Hisu gets caught. Mirror's able to find him. Fusion, though, immediately equalizing. Both teams down 2. Gladiators down their entire front line, though, and that makes things a little bit more difficult. Ivy, though, caught by Bird Ring. The Gladiators starting to take advantage.
This is the power of the Moira, though. You get that Coalescence before the point even opens, so that ultimate builds so quickly, gets you right back into the fight. Huge pickup by Alarm, though, and the enemy Reaper means Philly is not going to be scared to push in and just quickly reflip this point. I expect to see the Gladiators giving up, honestly, without their Reaper. Mirror stalls for a second, but this is a very difficult fight to win, and point is flipped. OG dies just in a vain attempt to try and hold on to the point. And, ooh, Halt tries to catch Funny Astro, but instead, or rather, tries to catch Big Goose, but instead it's the Maywall that catches these late spawns. And Philly just going to get pretty much feasting here on the spawners as they try to hold position. I don't think that's wise, though. You just can't challenge this heavy brawl comp when they're player advantage on you.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird that Glad stayed in as long as they did, and I think the problem for the Glads, even though they got first control, the Fusion retake was so quick that it doesn't matter a lot in the end, especially as Fusion is set up here at the choke.
Yeah, would have liked to see the Gladiators just give up point once they lost Bird Ring there. I think OG coming into stall just a little bit too desperate, and Fusion predicting this high ground push, but Gladiators just going to juke back the other way, and they get through the first choke, which can be the toughest thing to do against May. That's already big progress for the Gladiators. Now the challenge is, though, how do you deal with Ivy's Blizzard? Losing players to that freeze is deadly.
Gladiators in on the intro, off the beat, forcing out the beat from Astro. Fusion drop the freeze in the middle. OG can't get away. Now Fusion with advantage. Sato dropping the shatter late into the fight. Glad's down 2, but Mirror and Bird Ring finding some action in the back. The Gladiators evening things up. Sato now in danger. But Mirror and Bird Ring both getting caught by Poco. The Orisa cleanup. 3 for Poco at the end.
Yeah, it's just beautiful work by Ivy's Blizzard. You know, once OG falls, your Reinhardt, such a critical element when you're playing these rushing brawl comps. The power of the Rein, just swing on multiple enemies, cleave them down. When you're both grouping up, your Rein is going to get damage medals. That's just the nature of this comp. So losing your Rein to the Blizzard is great targeting by Ivy, and OG is going to be really missing his participation in that fight.
Final opportunity for the Gladiators to reverse course on this map here in our quarterfinal. OG has the shatter, going around the side, goes for the sneakiness, puts Poke on the ground. Meanwhile, Hisu got to the back of the Gladiators, the Death Blossom doing serious work, and now the Glads pretty unlikely to bring this one back. 97% for the Fusion, every Gladiator on the ground. Overtime in progress, but somehow I don't think we're seeing another Miracle stall. The Fusion take map 1, 2-0.
Like, the Gladiators are tilted after that one, man. That's brutal. The first round, I mean, the second round, all Philly, they deserve the win, solid. I feel like the Gladiators definitely gave that one up in a scenario that never really should work. I mean, Gardens on Lijiang Tower, it is one of the best stages in the entire game for those Desperation recontests, just because the distance from your spawn to the point is very, very low. But the problem is that somehow, some way, that Philly Fusion win a disadvantaged fight when they're in that retake scenario. So just feel like that shouldn't ever really happen against the Reaper comp. You should always just stay together. But then, you know, Mirror finds himself split off on one side of point, Birdring finds himself on the other, and then you lose your DPS, and things start to fall apart from there. But how did you really get to that point for the LA Gladiators? They're going to have to ask themselves that question as they regroup going into the next map.
We'll see if the Gladiators can be calmed down a little bit after the first one. The Fusion showing enormous resilience here in map 1 as they're hungry to advance. They're up 1-0 against the Gladiators. How's it going to end? We'll find out in just a few moments.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Rank up with America's largest 5G network. Switch to T-Mobile today. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. Wonderful. Well, so one last question, and I know you know it's coming, but we have to address it. Chipsa, Chipsa, Chipsa.
You don't know what it's like
He's our star DPS player, he's our secret weapon.
when your team plays around a Doomfist.
We were only going to play him against the best teams in the league.
Alright, I'm just receiving some breaking news.
I would absolutely on everyone. You guys would be surprised, okay?
Hold the press. No, we can officially confirm. We can officially confirm that Chipsa will be in the starting 6 today
No
for
way.
the Philadelphia
It's
Fusion.
fine. Seriously.
Chipsa, but we need to go deeper here. Throw everyone else off the screen. All I want to see is Chipsa. More Chipsa.
Fear is certainly being struck into the hearts of the Vancouver Titans.
What do they do when a living legend takes the stage? This is the fear we were worried about. He takes down a third. And Vancouver, no answer to this god among us.
People are losing their minds over here at Twitter. I mean, the reaction to this news is absolutely sensational.
Chipsa, I would say, is the best player in the league. The kids call him the GOAT.
Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted to see? The man with the worst luck in the world. A little bit of a rough go. Unlucky! That was not the game's fault.
Unlucky.
You're just going to keep seeing the camera on Chipsa. It's actually pure Chipsa vision. The pure intimidation forcing Vancouver back.
Give it to Chipsa. You go behind.
He knows the best way to engage. Put the nano on the Chipsa.
It's to be expected. I mean, pretty much the best player. I would argue the best player to ever live. But you know, you can say whatever you want. It's fine. But you know, I mean, what else do you expect from me? Undefeated, you know, best player.
Once again, it's going to be potentially a retake for Vancouver, but Chipsa has something to say about it. These are massive pickoffs.
That was a nice brawl re-engage.
I mean, people are rioting in the streets right now. I can see through my window that people are absolutely going crazy at the fact of this news.
Has not yet lost a match in this season, and he's very vocal about it on Twitter.
I am being humble, even though I'm saying all these things. That's me being humble. So you know, that just shows what kind of level I'm on compared to everyone else.
I think we could
Definitely,
actually
definitely.
say that.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh man, it is always great to see highlights of the one and only secret weapon.
And we've got some exciting substitutions coming in right now. The big red button has been hit. The secret weapon coming out. His name starts with a Z, ZB.
That's right. The person coming in, the substitution for the fusion. That's right. It's Carpe. So no big surprises there. Also, we got EQO and Fury being swapped in. So this fusion squad, Jake, pretty deep.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to Blizzard World. Come on, fans. What are you thinking? Hit scan player. We need the dominant one. And, you know, who better than Carpe to come out on a map like this, show us his stuff. You know, we've seen players make the Tracer work on this map. We've seen him play the Ashe, two heroes that Carpe is well known for his proficiency. And, you know, to say more about Histu as well, who came in over Carpe, I would say, in that last map, it seems that Fusion have utilized their roster really intelligently right now. It seems like, they're using Poco, Ivy, and Hisu to play this May Reaper style, put Poco on the Orisa, who has seemed really dominant on that hero, despite it maybe not being in his traditional pool. And now, so they've got that rushing brawl team, but you've also got this, high explosive, high damage team, bringing in Carpe for the hit scan role, bringing in EQO, most likely to play Echo here. And I think those adjustments, as well as Fury to play mostly the Sigma, it means that you have like these two rosters, both of whom are world-class, top-tier Overwatch League rosters, but they can each now specialize. And, you know, you've got three players who can play the rushing brawl style, who focus on that, make their whole style played around that. And then you've got other players who can, in my mind, I'm thinking they're going to be playing this range damage poke style. So Philly, two different looks, and both, I think, equally deadly. Up 1-0 in this series. Gladiators, what's their response going to be?
It's going to be interesting to see what that's going to be, because they're dealing with a Fusion team that is a surplus of riches. And, I mean, I feel like it has to be frustrating when you're game planning where you don't really know what you're up against. Where, Jake, you've dealt with substitutions before as a player. What goes through your head when you're trying to adapt and you see the other team just swap out 3 players?
It's pretty painful, right? It's a pretty rare sight in the Overwatch League to see that many swaps at one time in the match. What it means is that Philly is continuing with this incredible level of confidence throughout their roster, right? You've got so many pieces on this roster where a lot of teams have, you know, unfortunately just been forced to, or feel that they've been forced to let players just, you know, sit on the bench, even really strong players just be on the bench for a long time. That's not been the case for this Philly Fusion roster. They've been showing a lot of different looks and having 2 heavily different looks in the playoff match. Like, this is no getting people play time. That's not what this is about. This is fielding the best roster you can. And Philly just has so many strong players that they have 2 different best rosters that utilize 9 players so far. This is map 2.
Jake, your heart might have fluttered from out there. We saw Junkrat for about half a second. For now, EQO on the setup. Fusion will be running with a very dive-heavy setup. Meanwhile, the Glads here, Jake, they have to hope Birdwing gets a very early EMP.
Yeah, so on offense, it's not going to be the poke style. Instead, it is going to be this full dive style. We've seen Zen be a liability against the Gladiators before. Will they be able to punish it again? OG taking the rotation, and just so far a lot of patience on the Gladiators. They're looking to find a dive onto Alarm, but ooh, with Eco falling early, this is going to make so much space for Birdwing.
EQO immediately taken down. Okay, well, not enough space for Birdwing as it turns out. Your caster curse power over 1,000 here today. Both DPS for the Glads down. The Fusion hold their ground. Glad's overcommit. As a result, Fusion very likely get point A now.
Someone had to have broken Birdwing's TP. I think he went in like that, assuming he's got the TP out, just a little farming phase there. But I think somebody must have found it and broken it, because there's no way he should fall like that, except with somebody getting in there breaking his TP. But Gladiators looking for the recontest. This fight's not over. They have a nano boost to support it. Sato and Fury both low, but Fusion actually wisely preemptively back out of this. But still, Sato gets punished. So Gladiators, it seems like the retake is on.
Yeah, I think Fusion thought they had it to a degree. I think most people did. But you lose Sato, and suddenly you have to back out in full. So the Glads just managed to get the retake in the nick of time. As a result, Fusion, they were going to have a very quick start to point A. Now it's in contest.
Does cost them the nano boost, which is a crucial ultimate for the composition that Gladiators are running. So there's some big opening here for Alarm with the Transcendence to potentially just do so much that Gladiators can't get through it. We'll see if the dive can be successful from this defense. As OG leads in with the Primal. This is a good Transforce. It's a low commitment Transforce, just Primal, and OG's going to get out and be able to reset.
It's really smart by OG. Fusion, they're going to use Rally to continue the push of the Assault. Mirror as a clone Winston, Primal Rage up. Double Winston in play, and Mirror going for the juggle to the back, where it's harder for DPS players to do this, but it's decent disruption. But he goes too far deep, Jake. He can't get away if he loses the duplicate. And now the Gladiators is going to be more up to Birdring to even the scales here. Has the Pulse Bomb, uses it, doesn't get anything. And the Fusion now again with a dominant force on the point.
Yeah, the self-destruct from Eco does create a bit of space. They're trying to burn down Sato. Sato's doing a great job just being elusive here. Gets back to his team, gets full heal. Now Carpe's back in the mix, but Big Goose has the rally advantage here, and that's incredibly impactful in this dive mirror. So Gladiators potentially can stabilize. Tank ult's almost online, but might just not be soon enough. OG falls at 90 Primal. Space has self-destruct though, so could be a commitment here from Gladiators. They want to go for it.
Big Goose got Sato. The Gladiators trying to give the Fusion a taste of their own medicine. The late contest that probably shouldn't work, but somehow is getting a lot more traction than it has any right to. Birdring continuing to be a pest in on the outskirts, and the Fusion just keeps seeing victory snatched away from him here.
Yeah, ultimate rotation so on point right now from the Gladiators, and Shaz, he almost has his nano boost online. OG, Primal as well, almost prepared here, so another good few ultimates to keep this stall rolling, and the clock almost out here, ZP. Gladiators, they're snatching victory from the jaws of defeat right now.
OG going real deep off the nano. Sato focused on down. EQO couldn't even build duplicate in the moment as Mirror goes wild in the back. The Gladiators, Jake, they've nearly brought back this point A defense. And man, this is karma for the Fusion right now.
That's pretty incredible by the Gladiators, right? It looked like they were going to lose first point in the very first fight. It just looked like a complete failure on the dive. I was worried for the Gladiators, like this has been their best comp and they're not succeeding on it, but they've somehow brought it back. So showing impressive fortitude even against a very dangerous Philly squad. Philly, they've not looked weak here. It's just that the Gladiators have played perfection here in the stall game, getting so much value out of Shaz's on.
Carpe on the Tracer has the Pulse Bomb, not on a flank at all, playing the rest of his team against the armor pack. Looking for Birdring. I don't think either Tracer's going to do too much here in the duel, but Birdring has Rewind. Carpe decides it's enough. Goes over EQO, Clone Tracer, Pulse Bomb. Be able to build another. Mirror losing his duplicate. The Gladiators back on the point. Space drop a bomb at any moment here. The Glad's still fairly healthy. Space going to have to drop it just to get the remix. Shaz taken down. Carpe is able to get the Pulse Bomb, but Birdring on the other side evens it up. Both Tracers deadly. The bomb in from Fury. The Glads still over the point. Carpe, though, starting to get the work, has picked up 2 limbs in this fight. Working around, yet to be stopped, heavily supported by Astro. And the Glads starting to lose their footing.
These are really crucial final blows from Carpe. Not only does he find 2 pickoffs, but who are those pickoffs, right? It's both of the supports, both of those backliners for the Gladiators. And if you consider how they made all those previous holds work, it was because Big Goose and Shaz are just getting ridiculous value, keeping their tanks alive way longer than they should ever be possible. So Carpe realizes that, he makes the adjustment, targets down those backliners, and once they fall, that point take feels easy, but you know, it shows the difference that Big Goose and Shaz make to this dive squad, that how incredible of a value the nano boost and Shaz in general has been getting on this Ana. He's just been a bastion of support for his team.
If you're Glads, though, you have to be happy with that. They burned so much time off the clock when it was looking like point A was going to be closer to a speed run. Here comes OG, moves in, gets Nano, and that was a landing and then some, Jake. The Nano into the double. That's a quick way to shut down a push.
Yeah, you can't ask for more than that from OG. Just 1 nano and he obliterates Alarm and Funny Astro. Nice dive support, certainly from Mirror and Birdring, but it's a great positioning from OG and Shaz. They play the high ground, and then as soon as they notice that Philly's over-rotated, Philly's trying to take that wide angle with the Zen, they punish him at the perfect spot.
So the Glad stabilized, only a minute 26 left for the Fusion as they look to make up some time here on point B. OG sees a whole lot of people stuck in a tiny area, goes for the Primal, but has to be careful, eats a lot of damage. Mirror falls on the outskirts. So the Glads now have to fight this back, down in numbers, down in tank health on OG, who gets chased down. Carpe says there's no retreat. And the Fusion take the fight. And now the Glads are not going to have much time to defend point B.
Yeah, staggers here, very, very painful. There should be one opportunity for a recontest, though, and because Funny Astro did commit the rally there, it's going to be up to Sato and Fury to disrupt the recontest. I think Gladiators, they do have their work cut out for them with rally advantage here. Should give them some potential stabilization.
So low. Mirror just barely builds duplicate in time. Goes for the duplicate for Gita. Space, meanwhile, stays on the point, builds up self-destruct, drops over. Bird Rings, Pulse Bomb eaten. He was going near Fury. Fury grabbed it. And now the Glads trying to make something happen. Carpe, though, on the prowl once more. OG already down. Carpe over to the back, looking for even more. The Winston Primal from Sato, creating even more space. And Carpe just gets one after another, Jake.
Yeah, once again, it's Carpe shutting down the Brig. That's the most important kill here. Gonna enable Philly to get this cap, push it over the line, and now just cleaning up everybody. Not even any late picks coming in for the Gladiators, and they invested everything into that. Both teams, however, investing everything, but the fact that Philly is onto this third point, they're certainly going to be satisfied with that. Funny Astro now, once again, in pole position as far as that rally charge go, and really, in my mind, that is the most important ultimate in this mirror match. So, rally is pretty much all you need if the enemy has no ultimates. There's not much you can do about that rally armor, right? You're relying heavily on this poke damage, and the armor from rally is just perfectly matched for that situation.
I also just love the amount of support being thrown Carpe's way here, where he has an armor pack at all times, he has the Zen Orb, he's going off in the flank again, so even as the Gladiators go to the front, they have to be aware of Carpe, who's going to be zooming in from the back. Sato, meanwhile, doing a lot of damage on entry, just barely able to get out. I think Carpe got pushed out earlier from that engage. But now the Fusion, they're healed back up, Jake, and again, applying pressure.
You can see the level of this respect that has to be given to this rally. Gladiators, they're just poking, prodding, trying to stall card as much as they can, but they won't commit to a fight while the rally's online. It's not really an option. So now in last fight territory, as Space loses mech, this could be a really bad sign here for the Gladiators. Mirror does turn things around onto EQO, so it's still a fight here. OG's going to commit the Primal as well. Mirror on the copy Brig. Ooh, and he loses the copy, does not get the rally off.
OG needs to send someone off the ledge here. The Fusion are in a much better advantage. The Gladiators, take a look at their health. They are getting poked down on all angles. OG just barely able to get away. Alarm catches Bird Ring off the snipe. And this is going to let Fusion apply even more pressure. EQO going in, gets a duplicate. It's going to be time for another Primal here soon. This time courtesy of EQO, gets to the back. And as a result, the Fusion just about done here on point C. It's going to be an overtime, but it's still a great push.
Yeah, Brig completely zoned. EQO gonna chase down that kill. Should be all his, and even if he can't find it, she's so far away from the fight, can't support her team. So nice work by EQO with the copy there. There was a moment where it seemed doable for the Gladiators, doing such an absurd job stalling out point A, but from that point forward, it felt like Alarm was just never shut down on that Zenyatta. And, you know, it says just a greedier choice to pick Zen, a risky choice potentially if the Zen gets punished and killed, but Alarm makes it work there, finds pick after pick, and the Discord just proves too damaging. Shaz, I think on point A, he has better positions to stay alive and just heal up his tanks from safe corners. But once Carpe started focusing down those backliners, everything sort of shifted. The power of the Discord was felt more and more significantly as those heal resources are depleted for the Gladiators.
Well, I think you look at the flow of battle as it went down here, is that early in fights, you'd see the Gladiators take a little bit of an early advantage where Fusion would be losing in the poke war. But every single time, Carpe was getting supported, where he had Orb on him much of the time. He had a pre-armor pack on him, a lot of it. So even as the Glads were pushing forward into Fusion, you had Carpe setting up, loaded for bear, about as well supported as a Tracer can ever get. And he was making a lot happen, where suddenly you'd see members of the backline of the Gladiators start falling. All of a sudden, oh, we have a threat. And they're pushed so far into the Fusion, Jake, that they didn't have a great retreat. Like, Carpe was there to deal with OG anytime he would try and back out. Like, disengage didn't even become an option for the Gladiators past a certain point.
Yeah, and you know, that Ana, she's way more effective at healing up the tanks, right? Like, you know, dropping the nano on tanks or just regular heals, bio-nades, really effective to get those high HP targets back up to full. But the power of this Zenyatta with that Harmony Orb means that, you know, EQO and Carpe both have a more reliable healing resource, where Shaz has to hit some shots, look up in the air. It's just going to be slower than a Zen throwing a Harmony onto a Tracer, onto an Echo. So nice work, I think, by Philly Fusion here making great use of the Zenyatta and staying aggressive, right? If Gladiators are ever off the back foot, if they're ever able to take the fight to Alarm, then Alarm's job becomes much harder. So once that wasn't able to happen, as momentum was in favor of Philly, then it felt like Alarm's value is really getting crazy.
Well, just you're hyping up Alarm. He finds Shaz from downtown. And that push was a little bit awkward for the Glads. They thought they had Sato low enough for the focusing beam. Sato was still at good HP when they went in, so basically took no damage. The Glads' attempt of burning him down didn't work, and you overcommit for the main tank like that, Jake, and you don't get it, you're not going to win the fight.
Yeah, I just think the job of flex support in general is a little bit easier on defense here. Now, Alarm has the opportunity to take those effective, safe positions and just farm damage across the map. And it's Shaz who has to cross those dangerous gaps and be protected by his team. So we'll see if Gladiators can do the same job that Philly did as far as coalescing around that backline or keeping that flex support online and making sure that they can get maximum value over the course of a long fight.
OG leading the initiation. This time they get Sato. They don't miss. Shaz, though, caught by Carpe, and this is what you always have to look at here. Even as the Glad start out the fight well, what is Carpe doing in the back? Carpe is looping around the end. He's looking for space. Space is super low, and the Fusion, they're just trying to give Carpe some time to work with here while they regroup, while they wait for Sato to get back into the fight.
Yeah, Gladiators doing a great job being aggressive even without their Ana, but you can see Space and OG still aren't at full health, and they took that damage a long time ago. The lack of an Ana really hurting. Shaz just gets back to the fight, is going to drop the nano on OG, so Gladiators doing a great job juggling that spawner and getting him back into the fight, but once again, Shaz is just being assaulted in the corner, but his friend Big Goose is here to protect him on the brig.
Ikuo gets slept. First duplicate breaks, he gets out of it. Gladiators still at decent health here, but the Fusion have fully recovered. And the rally in progress here, Jake, makes him look more durable. Space, though, doesn't let Fury remech. Now the Glad's working at a player advantage. Front line is looking very beefy. OG, the Primal Rage, just in the nick of time. Doesn't get blown up by the sticky bombs in the least. And the Fusion, though, applying so much pressure to OG, they go, oh, you're mad? Doesn't matter, we'll take you down anyways. OG has to back out, now goes back in. Still keeping up the pressure. There's the bomb from space, takes down EQO. And the Gladiators find their way back over into the point. It has not been easy.
Yeah, nice catch by Birdring there, putting Carpe just a little bit low so that the bash from Big Goose does get the finish kill. This should be the Gladiators moving forward with, to be fair, a better time than Fusion had, but remember, Fusion basically made a run from this point forward, so Gladiators, can they match that same level of snowball? It's very possible considering Philly just invested everything into trying to hold that point. They have absolutely no ultimate resources available, and not only that, their closest ult is Ika with the copy, and EQO, 30% away from that ultimate. So this next fight should be pretty much free for the Gladiators. They just want to win it as cheaply as possible. Ideally with just a nano boost, just a pulse bomb. Something like that would really put them in great position to copy or maybe even beat the Fusion's time.
Yeah, economy is a really big deal here, especially when Fusion has just been so good at dragging these fights out. So on one hand, they have to be economical. On the other hand, they need to be decisive. OG able to get Sato. Sato not getting away this time. Fury already pretty low, so front line of the Fusion going to need to take a breather as the Gladiators get some well-needed progress.
Does cost them rally and nano boost though, so a relatively expensive fight win. The reward though is that Sato dies pretty quickly, and that means he's not able to farm up that Primal Rage, still very far away from the ultimate, so he'll have to be a little bit conservative, relying on Alarm's Transcendence to make this fight go long. A pulse bomb here from Birdring could be disastrous for the Fusion. They need their backliners alive.
Birdring sees the Echo in close quarters. OG, though, a little bit deep, was trying to back up Birdring, ends up paying the ultimate price. And the Fusion now turning this one right back around. Gladiators are going to have to go back to the drawing board. About 2.5 minutes left on the clock.
There's something so beautiful about watching Fury play D.Va. I mean, this guy's great at every off-tank. But D.Va is where you really realize what sort of ridiculous level this guy is on. He's just min-maxes the hero to such a crazy level. He'll just change targets seemingly at will, at random. It looks random to the casual eye, I think, but he's just so crazy at getting value of the hero constantly. He's not ever worried about finishing one kill or getting those frags. He just does damage, protects his team, and throughout the course of a long fight, that's really felt in a big advantage for the Philly Fusion here.
So the Glads, this fight I think is pretty much must win. They want to give themselves enough time for last. Mirror, early duplicate onto the Winston. OG already in Primal Rage. Mirror looking to rage out with him. Sato gets hit by the Bio Nade. Primal Rage, oh no, you gotta respect it. Here comes Mirror. Primal Rage up. Still about 4 seconds left on duplicate. Going to create as much disruption as he can, but remember, he's got forces out the Transcendence. It's a good start, but meanwhile, Carpe is able to win the Tracer duel. So Vlad's still gonna be working here at a disadvantage. OG is down, and that should be the end of the push.
Nano is lost there. I believe Shaz tried to Nano OG, but I just don't think it got out quite in time as OG was bursted down. That's really painful, losing that Nano boost. It's really the linchpin of the Gladiator strategy, but EQO, big overextension here. You can't go into this small room, that tiny choke where it's very easy for the Gladiators to defend.
Slept.
Asleep too, so Sato naded, slept very low. He's going to have to just run, but you cannot escape Mirror's focusing beam.
And the Glads getting a gift from the Fusion. The Fusion were very well suited, I think, to hold on point B, but that overextension not only could cost them the point, but it could cost them the map. Mirror finishes off Carpe. Deadly tracking coming on in. And the Glads, they should have everything they need here. There's going to be a little bit of delay from the Fusion, but unless they pull a map 1, point B should be theirs as Sato just gets belted on down.
Yeah, losing the Brigida, losing Funny Astro there, pretty painful. Almost guarantees this cap here for the Gladiators. Mirror's Echo really coming alive now. It seems maybe Carpe is getting the better of the Tracer duel from time to time, but Mirror's Echo has just really been salvaging these fights for the Gladiators. They're doing a great job not only keeping him alive, but despite not having that Harmony Orb, he's still getting a ton done. He doesn't need more than the Brig Packs, it seems, to get those focusing beam kills, and that's been the bright spot for the Gladiators. Both teams still confident in their choice of flex support here, so different takes on the same meta right now.
And the Glads, a minute 30 left. I think any time finish over a minute is out of their reach, but they still can finish with a little bit of a time bank edge. Birdring going to the back, gets the stick. A quick D-Mech onto Fury. Space Meanwhile gets Sato. The front line for Fusion completely decimated. And Mira going in on the Clone Zen. And this is where the Glads are going to overdive here, Jake. They are looking to build the Transcendence and just secure as much positioning as possible.
Yeah, now they have access to their own Discord. Just going to Transcendence go back to Cart. Not really much value to be gained out of the ultimate in this circumstance. Potentially even a missed copy from Mira, but pretty wise by Sato actually to let himself fall, not commit the Primal once Fury's already out of suit. Now Philly, they have a great opportunity, but Space wants to initiate with the bomb, gets heavily punished. EQO.
EQO was waiting for the bomb and he feasted. Did pay the price for it though. 5-on-5. OG gonna drop the Primal layer into the fight. Still under heavy fire with the Discord Orb. Here comes Sato looking over. Decent cleave to the back, but OG's getting a little bit more, Jake. The Glads are able to run away from Sato. Regroup. They've dealt more damage to Fusion. Sato can't Primal in time. And now the Gladiators in a real good spot to finish with time remaining.
Philly, they've got to delay the cart. They've got to buy time for Sato to come back with as Primal, but it's just going to be too little too late, it seems. EQO dropping low. Transcendence comes out with a massive nade from Shaz. Completely shuts down the Transcendence.
Unbelievable. The Gladiators keeping the pressure on Fusion on the brink. Here comes Sato. Primal Rage learns to fight. They're removed from the environment. EQO, though, self-destruct, able to get OG. This could be the beginning of a comeback here for the Fusion. They've already proven adept at stalling so far, but oh no! Sato leaps a little bit too high there, Jake.
Yeah, I love that moment for Echo when you lose your main tank and then you're like, well, I'm main tank down. Don't worry, team. that's a nice choice. So copy Mirror, you know, OG does get caught by the Eco copy self-destruct, but yeah, OG getting enough done there, I guess, with the Primal. And, you know, I praise Sato for holding the Primal in the last circumstance, but I think he just wasn't ready for the focusing beam from Mirror to burn him down so quickly. That's the nature of the game now, unfortunately, for Winston's. You can die incredibly quickly to that Echo focusing beam, so you got to be pretty conservative with the Primal. And Sato, I think, probably regretting not getting that out just a little bit earlier.
Well, one of the greatest marks of a top-end player in any game to ever exist, right, is knowing how far you can push things, where if you use your abilities at the last possible moment, you're going to get way more effectiveness. And I don't think there's any better example of that than Primal Rage. The problem, of course, is that if you bring things to the brink and there's something new added to the game that's messing with your internal timing, you're more at risk of just dropping without being able to use the ability, and then any reward you think you were going to gain is completely wiped out by the enormous loss your team just suffers.
Yeah, it's that nice edge, really, that all Overwatch play rests on, right? The difference between a perfect play, a team carry play that clutches things out, you know, that makes that unexpected clutch is just milliseconds, right, between just completely failing and feeding. So it just shows the level of play that we're seeing right now in the Overwatch League. To me, it's higher than ever. This is the best Overwatch we've ever seen as these players continue to improve, continue to get better, and, you know, push the game to higher levels.
Now, I do wonder here for the Gladiators if they're going to put more pressure onto Carpe. Where the Glads, they love taking the fight to the opponent's front line, but it was on the back line. They just got dominated. The last defense. Funny Astro eats a Bionade early on. And again, as we look at the Gladiators, look at the front, but also look to where Carpe eventually goes in this fight once he decides it's time to move. Gladiators, they're going to take the fight to the front, and this time they catch Carpe. He was still with his team. He didn't get a chance to flank to the back.
Positionally, I just love this movement from the Gladiators.
Now the Glads on the cleanup, and now I think the Fusion waited too long for this first attack here, Jake. The Glads got the initiative. Now the Fusion. Only 6 seconds left to get anyone over to the point. We'll see if they're able to get it in progress. And no, Carpe shut down where he stands.
Oh, I just love that adjustment from the Gladiators there. In the past rounds, OG's been playing that same corner, but in past rounds when he's been pressured, they've simply retreated out of that position. They've simply backed off the point and then take the fight with their Ana from there. But because Shaz is playing on the high ground of point, he still has LOS on that upper ledge position. So instead of letting OG retreat and forcing him back when Philly move in, Space actually goes in hard, commits on his Winston, protecting that power position, as well as Mirror and Birdring come in for support as well. So what that means is that Shaz is uncontested in the backline, just spamming heals onto OG, onto Space. So those two tanks are in a very hot zone, like very, very dangerous spot to be. But Alarm, it's impossible for him to really peek out and get a Discord there because, you know, that would put him in a vulnerable spot. Alarm wants to just be in the cave. So I think that's a really nice adjustment from the Gladiators. Positionally, you know, they're not changing their composition, but they choose to hold on to that crucial piece of the map. So when their dive comes in, it's way more effective because Space and OG, they've got their cooldowns reset. They were holding basically right next to the backline of the Philly Fusion.
And the great thing for the Gladiators here, you're looking at this map, Jake, it's nothing but upside. The worst case scenario for the Gladiators is that this is a draw. Obviously, with 1:08 left, they would love to get a win on the board, even up the series, but to some extent, the pressure is off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, yes and no, ZP, because I would say this is also the Gladiators map pick. You know, they did lose map 1, so this is their moment to swing the momentum back in their favor. I think a draw, like, obviously you take it, better than a loss. You know, it feels good to have no pressure and lock in the draw, but you want to get the win. This is your map pick. You should be winning here, at least theoretically. You want to have that confidence that you will win map picks. And it looks like going to be a contest in the flank here, but no, Carpe's going to back off early there. I think that's wise, considering Birdring can just get way more support from his Brig where he's playing.
A little bit more pressure on all players here, especially on the defense, where losing one player could mean the end of it all. Sato gets clipped by the bio nade.
Nice nade.
Good retreat by Sato, though. Sato saw the danger, immediately got out, but OG wants to keep the pressure. Gets hit with the early Discord Orb. Going to be playing a little bit more passive. Gets back to the rest of the team. EQO got pummeled. Gladiators winning the poke war here so far. Now the Fusion, the counter dive. They're looking for OG. OG able to back out. Birdring, meanwhile, on the other end. Takes down Sato, chases him out. And here comes OG. Gets the nano, dives over. And the Fusion having to give up space, but they can't give it up for long. If they give up the third, the map is over. Fury out of his mech. And the Fusion running out of lives to contest. The Gladiators just about there. So close to evening up the series. Alarm gonna use the Transcend here, Jake, but the team's all but over.
Yeah, after that first Koth round, I'm like super hesitant to call anything over, but this is as over as anything could be. Gladiators, they bring it back, able to get the series to 1-1, winning their map pick here on Blizzard World. And I just want to highlight Shaz there. I mean, not only did he do a great job supporting the positional hold from Space and OG on the defense, but then on offense, that nade onto Sato means that Philly have no chance to make that same play. They cannot hold the ledge. Sato, when he's naded, it's way too risky to stay there when you can't get healed up by your teammates. So Sato forced to back off, but then that's the weakness of the Zen. Not just seen, but really felt there. Like, when you're not aggressive with the Zen, when you're on the back foot, and your Zen is just forced to try and be a healer, how can you ever keep up with an Ana? You really just can't. So Sato goes in for a fight, but there's just no way for him to get healed up as the engagement goes along. You know, it takes the damage. He doesn't die immediately, but even if you're giving him all the packs and the Harmony Orb, you're not going to get that Winston to full for 5-6 seconds, where an Ana can refill her tanks in, you know, 1 to 2 seconds. And that difference really capitalized on by the Gladiators, playing that small edge and securing the map right there.
Yeah, I think it was very difficult for the Fusion, their front line just getting crushed. And hey, part of that is that Carpe was getting a lot of support. Meanwhile, the support on the other end going towards OG. But now it's all evened up between the Gladiators and the Fusion. The Fusion, they got a fight on their hands. Why did things get evened up? We're going to go to the watch point to see that halftime analysis.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by ZipChair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League, and by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. Welcome one and all to our game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves. The Gladiators brought it back on their map pick Blizzard World, and now the score is 1-1 against the Philadelphia Fusion. Let's talk about the games. I of course have Costa and Reinforced joining me for the analysis of the beauty that is those Overwatch games. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but yeah, no,
They are beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. They actually are. They really are. Let's talk about. Let's rewind. Let's go back to that first map and talk a little bit about what we saw. Gladiators at one point did play that Doomfist Reaper comp. Cause I understood as we were watching it, you weren't really a fan of that.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a battle of two styles. They're both playing like very similar comps, but just like minor differences. On the first map, we saw the Gladiators leaning towards the Doomfist, which I'm really not a fan of. Doomfist gets value, but not against Ryan or Orisa, because you punch either of them, and it's not very valuable. So I wasn't really happy with how they tried to come out on that. Obviously, the first round was incredibly close, and you got to give them that, but I put that on the back of Birdring's Reaper. So questionable decisions and comp, in my opinion, especially going up against the May as well.
Yeah, on map 2, however, we did see that dive mirror, except with the little difference that Alarm was actually playing the Zen over the Ana. I know the opinions are split on that one. Reinforce, which side of the camp are you in?
Oof. Wow, am I in a
Now you gotta
camp?
choose.
I think I am in the
choose a favorite.
Zenyatta camp. I mean,
Really?
it's so interesting though. Well, I'm okay. Well, you probably like playing Ana, so that's why you picked it. No, but this is so interesting because it's honestly like a subjective choice. I want the viewers at home to understand that there is no right choice between the Ana and the Zenyatta. I think it comes down to playstyle preference, individual skill, etc. And then you sort of have to force your playstyle according to your preference of pick. So it's very interesting. Like, if you were to poll all of the Overwatch League players, I mean, this would come down as maybe like a 60-40, 70-30 kind of split, because you can justify the Ana if you play a bit more aggressive with the nano boost, you have tons of healing going out, but at the same time, you can really justify the Zenyatta as well, because you have that Discord Orb, you're now better at spam, and I think Philadelphia did a great job overall, actually, of sort of playing in corners, playing in tight corners, where they were able to protect Alarm on that Zenyatta so it didn't die, and they were forced to sort of, the Gladiators were forced to play more aggressive with the Ana, because they will lose in the long run. If they take a spam battle against the Zenyatta Discord Orb, they're going to lose in the long run, because you can't out-heal that with an Ana. So, very interesting to see the two styles, but still, the Gladiators came out on top. So, very subjective. I just love to see the different styles go head-to-head, and to see that there is no mirror going on, like there is playstyle involved.
I want to add my 2 cents of the reasons that I don't really like the Zen, because I want to put the other side of the coin. I don't like the Zenyatta because I think it's really hard to attack. When you see they have a very defensible position and the Zen can free shoot, high value, but you saw they really struggled to take point A against the Gladiators time and time again, because the Gladiators have free reign to just wait for the Zenyatta to walk forward and then dive. It's a very clear dive signal, while with the Ana that's a lot more convoluted. So there's value for both, as Johnny said, but I'm definitely more on the Ana camp, and we saw that from the APAC region.
Such high analysis. Like, this is gold.
I mean, it is really just an opinion piece, isn't it? So yeah, Zen is very susceptible to death. However, if your team plays well around it, you can make it work and get a lot of value out of that Zenyatta pick. But yeah, can make arguments for both sides. So it's still great to get the insight from two former pro players, actually. And guys, it is crunch time presented by Cheez-It Grooves. Which play made it into 2 days?
It's an obvious one.
Yeah, it's a heartbreak.
Oh,
You want to talk about it, Johnny?
You're asking me if I want a heartbreak. Come on, buddy.
Do you want a heartbreak?
No, well, okay. I mean, I'll shy away from my
Since you're
Swedish
offering.
genes. I'll be the one to say, yeah, hate to see it. I'm sorry, Costa.
Nice.
I've taken your segment. It's Swedish now. Don't even worry about Sideshow. But this is just heartbreaking, really. You can, again, it's subjective. Is it bad play from the Gladiators? Is it great stall from Philadelphia? I think the Fusion did a fantastic job of just buying time and eventually mirror overextends on the Doomfist, and then you're able to see Shaz come out with the... No, sorry, not Shaz. Alarm come out with the Coalescence and beam him down. So I want to give credit to Philadelphia. Costa, are you going to criticize the Gladiators? What's going on here?
I think you got to give them a little bit of criticism because if you just look at this clip and we're watching it from Birdering's perspective, they're all just running around like headless chickens, shooting at things and not really focusing anything down. You see how much value Sato gets by just latching onto the center post and just spinning around in circle. We've all tried to deal with that. It's the most frustrating thing in Overwatch. But as professionals and as the Gladiators, you have to expect a better performance. I think the moment it fell apart was definitely that moment where Mira overextended on the Moira. I think he tried to punch Alarm out of the Coalescence and just didn't get that value. All fell apart from there. So I'm with Johnny. You hate to see it.
I hate to see it.
You know what
Come
I love,
on, Zoe.
You know what I
hate
love
to see it.
No, actually, I kind of loved seeing that because I was entertained, and that's what this is all about for me.
No.
I'm sorry for the Gladiators or their fans, but I was rather entertained. It keeps me on my toes, keeps me on the edge of my seat, and I love that. And you know, quite frankly, what I love to see in this very matchup right now is that it feels like the majority of the fights just drag on forever. No one is able to kill anyone, or then everyone dies at the same time. Like, it's just madness. Why is it so close between those two teams?
I'm gonna give credit to the tanks. Okay, like you can go both ways in this as well. You know, you can get harp on the damage players, or you know, the follow up, whatever. Like I think OG and Sato is really bringing it. Like the leaps they are using to create space, the discipline. I'm loving what I'm seeing from both of these Winstons right now, and I just want to see more of it. I think it's been quite spectacular ping-pong play, as the pros call it, where you ping-pong the off-tank and the main tank to juggle the points, sort of, and stall more. I'm really loving what I'm seeing from the main tank, so I just want to see more from OG and Sato.
Well, let's see what we get on Hanamura. That is the next map coming in. So once again, for all the action, we're heading back over to Jake and CP.
Brought to you by Cheez-It Groups. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Hello? Hey.
Huh?
I love you.
Oh yeah?
Nice.
Hey, who you love more, me or Kelsey? Oh, guess that's neither.
Carpe, you'll see. Yeah, that is a C. I have to be an H. I have to be H. Is there an H?
Carpe, put C on, please.
Where's the C?
Oh, I.
My God, Carpe.
Carpe!
Where's it?
Look at my icon. It's like a C with something over it.
Ah, I got it.
Chips. Nice.
Hey, look at me.
Look. Oh, I can't. Because you're so ugly.
Space,
Everyone, don't worry.
I'm burning your mic too close.
Everyone. Okay.
Is that the best H? Is that actually
H?
Yeah, that's
Hey.
nice.
Oh, iPhone H.
Where?
I'm joking.
I
Baited.
Fighting!
This is all simulation. This is just testing your limit, you know?
That's so true, actually.
Yeah. Everyone just trying to test your limit.
Yeah.
He said he wants to go to the bathroom.
I go to the bathroom like 20 times a day. I'm sorry.
Okay, just carry the game.
I don't know why.
Okay, I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick. I just popped like 60 push-ups. I'm amped.
In the bathroom, on your bathroom floor.
Yeah. I feel violated.
Yeah, send help. Send help.
Philly fans getting reminded of a harsh fact here in the Overwatch League. Things never go easy for the Fusion when it comes to playoff time. The Gladiators able to even up the series. It's 1-1 at the half. ZP here with Jake. And Jake, the Gladiators showing some real gumption in the last round.
Yeah, I don't think you can criticize Philly for that second map in the series. I don't think they played poorly. I just think Gladiators are on another level when they play that dive mirror. We saw them completely wipe the floor with the Justice yesterday. Now up against a much tougher opponent in the Philadelphia Fusion, though still prevailing in that mirror match. I think what's pretty interesting now is we're seeing some compositional changes, rather some lineup changes coming in for the Philly Fusion as they head into the next map. A bit of a mix-up between the roster they fielded in the first and the second. So now we're going to see Ivy paired up with Carpe and Poco as well coming back into the lineup. So, you know, what's in store for us? I think only Philly Fusion and their coaching staff know exactly. Gladiators sticking with the same roster, still confident in that core six.
Fusion, you got multiple looks at the Gladiators. You get what you see. I don't expect them to change off this at all. But now we go into our next map. It's going to be Hanamura, where we head to next. And this is where the series really gets interesting, Jake, because regardless of how good you view one team or the other, I always feel like assault maps are always a little bit variable. It's where even the weaker team can gain some momentum and cause a heart attack for the fans of the favorite team. And yeah, that's right, I'm referencing Fusion's favorite thing to do, going to a 5-map series. If that were to happen, Jake, would be because the Gladiators come out strong here on Hanamura.
Yeah, and honestly, ZP, I can't tell you who the weaker team is here today. I mean, both teams have really been fighting tooth and nail to stay in this one. I mean, yes, the Fusion did win that first control map 2-0, but that first 1-0 is a little bit crazy. So Gladiators, you know, good to see that they're not mentally phased by that, and that's so important as a player, right? Like when something goes wrong and maybe you did slip up as a team and you didn't play your best, you lost in a situation where you shouldn't have. It's so important that you just put that out of your head instantaneously, move on to the next map. Don't ever get in this mindset of, oh, we're playing bad, oh, you know, like, well, poor me kind of thing, because that is only going to drag you down further, create a negative spiral. You have to be able to just flip the switch, new map, new me, and Gladiators did just that, bringing the series to 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, also at some level, it's like intimidation, right? Where the Gladiators, they lose that fight that they should have won, and then they just get scared because they see in the other room, like, D.Va's putting on his football gear, and it's just like, no, we'll play better on the next map, we swear. And as a result, the Gladiators kind of gave Fusion a taste of their own medicine, point A on Blizzard World. So, all evened up here, Jake.
I'm actually so surprised to see Mirror on this Pharah. I think this Pharah hero took a big hit from the introduction of Echo. It feels that Echo has such a huge edge dueling in the sky. So I'm a little bit surprised to see if Mirror can make this work. He's had great success from projectile heroes in the past. I don't think I've seen too much of his Pharah though. He has a pretty good lineup to play against though. No like core hit scan on the side of Philly Fusion though. That could change once they see the Pharah.
So Fusion gonna be looking for a quick split off and still give Carpe room to maneuver to the back. The Gladiators on the Pharah. It's going to make the approach difficult here for the Fusion, where on one hand, the Fusion want to give Carpe time to get to the back. On the other hand, they have to respect Mirror, and that's why they're taking this long route, Jake.
Carpe is going to switch over to the Widow, though, so someone's going to have to suppress that. He's going to be coming in from the flank as the other 5 teammates are going to come in from the backline, so a nice split. But Carpe, this is high risk, high reward. If he gets caught, he's all alone. There is no support for that Widowmaker, so Carpe's going to have to be very cautious here, trying to get pickoffs.
The Fusion, they've gotten to the point, they've dealt with the Pharah obstacle course. Gladiators are going to have to take more here, and Birdering gets caught, taken on down. This is going to be real difficult for Mirror to even the odds, but against Funny Astro, that's a start, 5 on 5. Gladiators feeling pressured here on the point as Mirror has to dodge and can't dodge for long. Gets the headshot icicle. That's one way to ground to Pharah.
Carpe has proven too elusive. They're not able to find him. He's not doing too much, but he's still a super annoying distraction. Like, you can't forget about this Widow that's just peeking from spawn, and the rest of Fusion on the point, and without Pharah Mercy, pretty unlikely, I think, that you're going to be able to get this retake. OG is going to commit the Primal, so maybe trying to get some favorable ultimate trades here. Gladiators not willing to give up just yet.
There's a chance for the Barrage. I mean, it's not super likely, but Mirror comes back in, takes down Ivy. Here's the Barrage, looking for it. The Matrix in his face the entire time, but still able to stay alive. They weren't able to punish him during that. And the Gladiators, with the chance of rebounding here on point A, repeating their fan Blizzard World. Carpe goes down, can't find the shot onto Mirror. Gladiators looking real good right now. The Fusion on the back foot. This is far more momentum for LA. But Birdering, oh no, runs into a Moira Orb, and suddenly the Fusion, they turn the tables on the Gladiators, and I'm not sure they have it in them to repeat this again, Jake.
Yeah, spawn advantage really significant here. That's why the odds of retaking are so low. Bigus is going to commit the Valk, so there are some heal resources here trying to keep this fight in contention. Mirror gets 1 kill. Oh, he's shut down so close to the Barrage too.
Gladiators, though, they're giving time for Birdering to get back to fight. Carpe with 2! Big Guso, he's able to res Mirror. He's going to get the Barrage up. He takes down Sato, but Carpe grounds the Pharah again. Nothing but Carpe filling the kill feed here, the one player that the Glads are struggling to take down.
Yeah, and even though I do think Philly will eventually get this, the stall has proven well worth it. I mean, time bank so low here. Carpe, though, just a little bit too deadly on the Tracer, is going to get the flip. OG's going to fall pretty late. Mirror on the Pharah, also Big is swapping off the Lucio, so that's going to suggest to me that Mirror won't keep this. He might try to use the Barrage. No, it doesn't even want to force that, especially against Poco on the D.Va. And a lot of ults here for the offense. This could very easily be a snowball pitch. Pretty much only OG's Primal stands in the way of Philly Fusion and a cap on point B.
This is so dangerous for the Gladiators. The Fusion are coming in with every advantage possible. The Gladiators need some form of hero play here, some early burst, a misplay by the Fusion perhaps. But they need help one way or another. The Fusion, the Broadword to point. The Cole out from Alarm, snipes down Mirror. The Glad's already down 1. OG, if you're going to Primal, you got to do it soon. The Glad's already down 2. Primal out from OG. The Fusion, though, playing into their advantage. Poco gets caught, but OG's down. It should not be enough. The Fusion looking completely dominant here as the Gladiators are hoping for a miracle.
Yeah, and Philly doing a great job here of staying aggressive, hunting kills. They are focusing those players contesting point, but they're also attacking the backliners, not letting Shaz and Bigos get value. The sound barrier from Funny Astro are going to keep those 5 members of Philly Fusion up, and Poco almost back to the fight now, so it's going to be a 6v contesters here as Philly, they are cleaning up. This should be a quick cap. It's all about the delay now for the Gladiators.
Yeah, I mean, for the Gladiators, how long can they stall? How much time can they burn off the clock? Again, I don't think Lightning is going to be striking twice here with a Miracle retake. The Fusion are very far ahead. Alarm, another Cole in the fight. Just being Mirror's worst enemy. Time Mirror heads out, just a beam heading directly to him. Poco gets DMX, but that should not be enough.
Yeah, Alarm on this Moira. This hero is so deadly in a player advantage situation. You just can't commit the necessary resources to chase her down after the fade. Bigos has Rally, doing a nice job being elusive with that shield bash. Copy May comes in. Oh, this is perfect. That's a beautiful stall choice by Mirror, and Birdring's going to be back.
I mean, right now, we're just watching a series where the theme is everyone is immortal. Neither team wants to fall. The Gladiators have been in zombie mode for the last minute, and yet they refuse to fall. They just keep standing up over and over again. It's like that scene from Highlander.
Yeah, Space gonna get demagged, but Goose is taken down. That's so important. Not able to get much on the Immortality drone. OG bursted down as well. This should finally be the cap for the Philly Fusion, but how about those stalls from Gladiators? They didn't really win a fight this entire map, and Philly has 2 minutes left in the time bank, so that's really well done. I mean, obviously you would have loved to get some stabilization there, get some solid fight wins, and actually reset Philly's attack. So Philly, they're okay with this. This is a good push, but considering that they didn't properly lose a fight anywhere in that series, you got to give props to the Gladiators for the mental fortitude there, getting tons of value even as the fight looks really desperate, really dire.
Yeah, I think there's a good concept to know in Overwatch, which is that there's 2 ways of losing. There's losing well, and there's losing badly. And obviously you'd prefer not to lose at all, but losing well is still not bad for the overall course of the map, where at the very least, even as the Gladiators were losing these fights, they were draining the clock. They were keeping the option open to have a good attack and essentially reset the map. So pretty gritty stuff from the Gladiators, and also, again, funny given how the Fusion had the most epic delay into a retake all the way back on map 1.
Man, Carpe had to put out some serious heroics to secure this point A, just showing that, and then he went on to finish off the Ana as well. So pretty disgusting spree from Carpe, showing why he is in this lineup. You know, Hisu, maybe he's got the Reaper down pat, but Carpe on the Tracer is a sight to behold.
Alrighty, the Gladiators going to be heading to the attack, the Fusion on the defense. And certainly the Gladiators going to need to up their level of play from where it's been, where losing well is one thing, but that's not going to win you anything on the attack. We'll see just how decisive they can be.
Oh, nice teleporter there from Mirror. Going to switch over to the Echo and join his team on the high ground. So they're going to basically skip out on all that spam the defenders normally able to put in and start building their ultimate. So I like that opener from the Gladiators. It's a small thing, but gives them some good position to start poking here on the offense. Birdring wants to change it up, though. Doesn't like his odds, and I think this is a good choice. Against D.Va, very difficult to get that much value on Ashe, especially with Tracer and May. You know, Tracer, maybe it's an okay matchup, but a defensive Tracer is always going to have the edge on the Ashe.
The key here for Birdring is just going to be avoiding Ivy. Taking Icicle to the head would be devastating, and Ivy particularly good at that. But now the Gladiators going on in, go up or to the left side. Mirror looking for the Focus Fire on the top, still nothing too low, but finds Carpe! Carpe just rolls into his line of sight, and Mirror smashes him immediately. So now the Fusion, they don't have anything to rely on in the way they normally do. They don't have Carpe continually weakening things from the back. The Gladiators, who've had a stronger front line, can just leverage that directly into the Fusion, but they need to get some limbs, Jake. They're taking so long.
Oh, and Ivy turns it around at the Bird Rig with a huge Icicle. Mirror, he needs to find something to keep this fight in contention for the offense. It seems like things are starting to stabilize for Philly. Alarm's Coalescence almost online, and that should put an end to this offense.
Glads
he
fans
needs it. Oh, he doesn't even need it. That's painful.
Glads fans, I just need a disclaimer. That was not a caster curse. I was just talking about inevitability with the May versus Tracer battle. Not my fault. Just saying.
Yeah, Gladiators, they are able to fire with some ultimates, but the defense, they can say the same, and because they don't even need to commit the Coal to close out that fight, they have great tools. They can just start this off with the Coalescence, and that's almost certainly going to force an unfavorable trade out of the Gladiators. So one of these DPS players, perhaps Shaz or Space, could come up with a pick here, but I think without that, this is going to be an easy hold for Philly with both support ults online.
2 minutes left for the Gladiators, and I think OG going this far back, I mean, this is where if you're the Fusion, just stay away from the edge. Don't give OG the option to send someone off the side. Take the fight in the courtyard. Birdring searching for weakness in the back. Carpe in hot pursuit, and it's going to get dangerous, but Birdring moves in. Lands Pulse Bomb, but the beat from Funny Astro immediately there. Still not too bad. It forces out the beat. The Gladiators trying to take well advantage. Mirror off on the clone. Birdring getting very low. Carpe again looking, gets the stick on the Shaz, rips him out of the fight. And the Fusion in a good spot here. They've dealt with most of the Gladiators healing. So the Gladiators don't get anything soon. They're just going to get out-sustained out of this fight. But hey, they get Sato with the self-destruct at the start. Problem is Carpe is still around, still alive. And now with Alarm down, Carpe's going to get produced soon as the Gladiators are starting to turn this all around.
The scrappiness of Big Goose on the Brigida can't be underestimated here. Even without his healer partner, he's managed to stay alive, keep his team fighting, and the dive comp really capitalizing on that as Poco Do goes down, cannot resuit after the self-destruct. So Gladiator somehow bringing that one back. It looked desperate, it looked dire, but there was like a team ace there. Everyone coming up with 1 or 2 kills, and really everyone contributing. There was no true carry, I think, in that fight for the Gladiators, just continuing to show that their real strength right now is their teamwork.
The team play was strong, and also the Fusion pretty drained there, Jake. Towards the very end, they're not working on a huge defensive bank, so the Gladiators, they do have an opportunity here on this first attack. Though I think regardless of what they do, I don't see them saying a quicker time unless the Fusion completely fold here.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a blistering offense indeed, but not too many good ultimates online for the defense. Still a 30% gap on that Coalescence, which is really, really important ultimate, I think, to suppress the attackers, to keep your tanks alive and in position. Shaz with the Bionade, though, that can always change things. There's no real answers to the Bionade besides Poco just shutting it down before it really begins.
Carpe, again, just being the ever-present threat to the Gladiators in the back. Gladiators being kind of slow on this attack here, Jake. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of it. It's giving Fusion time to set up, time to get defensive ultimates, which favors the defense a lot more than the offense at equal ults.
Yeah, OG wants to get closer to his primal. He does not want to get bursted down before that ult's off. So I like this point pressure, though, coming in from Birdring. Gets a tick.
Carpe finds Shaz again. And the Gladiators, they put their attention on the front. They forgot about the back. And yeah, trade out all you want. The Fusion have done enough to force the Gladiators back here, and I'm kind of surprised the Gladiators aren't fully off yet. They're still being scrappy off on the front, but I just don't see anything happening.
Yeah, it was possible, I think, until that pick came through. Losing space in the Baby D.Va, unable to get back in the suit. I think that's what they were maybe gambling on, was Mirror being enough of a distraction for space to resuit and then, you know, get those bodies back in the fight, but commitment ends up being for naught, and another pulse bomb from Carpe onto Shaz. That's been sort of the story of this game. When Carpe is able to shut down those backliners, then the Gladiators kind of fall apart, and just shows, I mean, how crucial the flex support role is. If you're a Tracer and you can get the stick on the Ana, you just can't ask for better than that. Killing off those Ana and Brig, you know, it just creates an excess of value as the fight goes long.
I think it just hurts the Gladiators because they're so good at frontline initiations, but having to worry about Carpe 24/7 really hurts their initiative. And now the Fusion trying to take the fight to the front line. OG charges over, and oh boy, he's gonna fall. He was hoping to get someone off the charge, but missing. That was the end. Fusion still very, very healthy here, and the Glads, again, gonna be back to the drawing board where, by the way, Fusion, they invest the beats. Interesting. All right. So the Gladiators, they're throwing everything in this. They feel there's a chance. The Fusion dropped the Blizzard in response. The Gladiators trying for longer than expected, but Birdring, ooh, the freeze.
That's some hate on the Birdring. Freeze into shatter.
Yeah, he wasn't living from that one. And now Carpe, this is the cleanup that Tracer lives for. This is tough now for the Gladiators. They threw all their eggs into that last fight basket. They got a minute left, but not a lot of power behind it, Jake.
Oh, a nice little cleanup by Funny Astro. A little bit of style to add on top of that. Space goes off the map for the reset, and time running low here. This is the Gladiators' last and best chance. You know, one good thing for them, I would say, is that you're only worried about the nano for the defense. Defense doesn't have some big stack of ultimates, but Carpe's been so precise with these pulse bombs. I dare say if Carpe can find one with the pulse bomb, this is all over. Philly are going to go up 2-1 in the series. That is where my eyes are at. And as well, the nano for alarm means that even if Sato slips up, which is unexpected, really, he's going to have the nano as a backup to it.
Oh, it's a really early nano. That is very early. If OG can live a little bit longer, the Glads can turn the tide. Mirror off on the clone. Ryan gets slapped in the back. And, okay, Carpe, just stop. This is bullying. You keep pulse bombing Shaz. Choose another target. Have some mercy. Either way, the Fusion looking dominant, and it wasn't looking good for the Glads there in any case, because even if the Gladiators' last attack had worked out well, they'd be playing for the draw. The Fusion, too good on the double flank frontier. Carpe, just big in the backline.
That was so many times Carpe just finds the pulse bomb connection onto the Ana, the most optimal target. It's just, I mean, perfect performance from Carpe. It's easy to say that, oh, just do that every time and you'll win every fight, but Carpe actually does it. That's the difference between Carpe and the theoretical perfect Tracer, is that he's actually not so far off. He actually is consistently getting those sticks and not only finding them on a tank, you know, whittling down a main tank, you know, putting the Rhine low, actually taking down that backliner, shutting down the Ana, and that really cuts the head off the snake of the offense, where the offense, they need to keep their players alive, and none more important than their flex support. That's the hero that keeps you going, keeps the fight going long. So without Shaz, there's no real hope, and it just feels like you can't answer Carpe, then you can't answer the Fusion.
Yeah, it was very difficult. Also, honorable mention to Alarm, who is fantastic at keeping the front line for the Fusion up, and also just landing that dirty sleep at the very end, just ruining Mirror's day, and what could have been a winnable fight for the Gladiators. So the Fusion up 2-1 at the end of Hanamura. The Gladiators, they still have a chance to bring it back. We'll be back soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Rank up with America's largest 5G network. Switch to T-Mobile today.
If you were wondering where Carpe was, let me tell you, he's probably in the Gladiators backline because that was the story of Hanamura. And Shaz right now has entered the witness protection program. He's out. He's done. He wants enough of it. But the Gladiators here, Jake, they are down a map to the Fusion, facing elimination from the Melee, and they've decided to enter into the belly of the beast. They're going to bring it to Junkertown against Carpe's Widow. That's bold.
Yeah, it is. They're definitely putting a lot of faith in Birdring here. This is a map where pretty much seems like no matter what the meta is, no matter what is traditionally dominant, Junkertown first point, Widow will destroy you all. Like, you just need to do a Widow. You know, the Widow can play a position that's 2 Winston leaps away from a crucial corner that the attackers need to cross, and the tanks usually hold from the defense. So what that means is that heroes that are normally focused around diving on top of Widow, jumping onto her, there's no flanks. There's no way you sneak up on her. You need to come through her sightline, and you could always be cut down. So I expect to see the duel come out here on Junkertown.
Yeah, and I mean, this, like I said, I just think this is a bold choice for the Gladiators, where even the Gladiators feel that this is a good option for them. In a way, they're putting a lot of faith in the Birdring here, going, all right, Birdring, you see Carpe on the other side, you want him, you got him. And who knows how Birdring's like that. He's either going, yeah, I want to beat the best, I'm better than him, or there's a little bit of fear. Maybe there's fear no matter what, but the Widow duel here, should it occur, should be very entertaining.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what the tank line looks are from both of these teams. They've both been favoring the dive styles and Rhine styles, right? That we haven't seen too much. Orisa Sigma, I don't think any so far this match from either team. But as we go to Junkertown, that tends to be the most consistent composition. Works on all 3 points of the map, so I'd be surprised if neither team brings it out here. But clearly, it's not what they're not their wheelhouse, not their preferential comp. So maybe this pick for the Gladiators is aiming at just shaking up things for the Fusion, forcing them to play a comp that they haven't exactly loved. But it's not like you can say that Philly's weak at this comp, you know, so Gladiators, they're going to have to play well for sure. No defensive Widow. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is where the Gladiators are going, okay, we don't want to take the Widow duel. I think that's wise, where even though I think Birdring's highs are very high, it's risky to decide to take the Widow duel versus Carpe. I feel like one of the only teams that would try that right now would be Dallas with Decay. But of course, Dallas, they're knocked out. We're not going to see that for a while. The Glads, though, this is going to be rush down central here, Jake. Just trying to give Carpe as little room as possible.
Yeah, this is all about the spawn camp here, so it's a very different take on Junkertown first. Instead of playing near the end of first point, you play right in the attacker spawn, but that's a high-risk, high-reward playstyle. If you get cut down, you are miles from resetting, so we'll see if this first dive works out.
Oh, the Gladiators, they go directly to the spawn door. This is where they have to try and keep as healthy as possible. And okay, they force the Fusion to do some comp swaps here, and Poco, for a moment on the Roadhog, goes, okay, maybe not the Roadhog. Carpe onto the Tracer, so the Glad's gambit so far, it's paid off.
Yeah, initially though, they've got to win some fights for this comp to really work out for them though, so the real test is now as Philly starts to move out of the spawn, and so far uncontested.
Now they're looking for OG. OG though, getting plenty of heals in the back. Shaz just hoping Carpe does not roll over in his direction anytime soon. Carpe still chasing down OG. OG still okay. Birdring getting poked down on the other end. So the Fusion getting a little bit more off the skirmish. The Gladiators having to give up ground.
Yeah, bright spot for the Gladiators, though, is that Birdring with armor pack should have a massive edge over Carpe in the 1v1. The armor is really significant here, and it's awkward for Boyro to heal Tracer in a lot of circumstances. So Nano comes in onto OG now, and this dive is looking great for the Gladiators.
Yeah, they saw Carpe got pushed out a bit, and the Gladiators just took the advantage to immediately move forward. And this is where the Gladiators are at their very best, when they can fearlessly move forward. And okay, as I say that, OG goes a little bit too far forward. Carpe catches him. And now things get a little bit tricky. OG, I think, was trying to build the Primal, doesn't build it in time. And Mirror now over the top, not landing anything super low here just yet. Gonna go with the Moira clone, but meanwhile, Carpe's just decimating the ground. By the way, Shaz, pulse bombed again.
Carpe just so deadly, and he clearly has marked his target for death here. Shaz feels like he's taking every pulse bomb, and I think that's because he is. So Carpe, despite this comp being awkward for Tracer, right, there's no support that can easily heal Tracer, that can sustain her. Carpe is proving that he's such an expert on this hero. He doesn't need that sort of preferential treatment. You know, we said he got a lot of support on Blizzard World. Well, now he has very little support, and he's still producing.
I feel like support players are watching this game just seeing their worst nightmare if they play Ana, with Carpe just continually going for Shaz. I mean, for the pulse one, they hang the Ana with this consistency. Oh man, it's tough.
Big Goose has Rally here, so this is a potentially good fight, but they need to bridge the gap. Still a few more percent to charge up on those Rally and Nano, which are really the crucial opener ults, the way you want to start the fight. And I like the way Gladiators are baiting Philly out into the open.
Yeah, I think the Gladiators' positioning here is quite smart. Birdring, pulse bomb about to be up, and ooh, falls off the side. Meanwhile, OG on a nap should be able to. No, he can't! Frozen after the nap. Couldn't use the primal, the coordination, sublime from the Fusion. And this just puts
nice
the Gladiators in an even
Ivy.
tougher spot. Alright. That wasn't even a pulse bomb, but now Shaz, be afraid. Get all the intel you can in Carpe, where Carpe, he's just cleaning up right now. The Glads are resetting. Take it as you will. But if I'm Shaz, I feel fear right now.
Yeah, and the dive comp just not working out. Ivy's May, he's just so confident and cool, calm, and collected on this hero. He has great usage of his tools, and he's such a hard target for dive, right? When you can just use that crowd freeze ability and pretty much become immortal. We're going to see Birdring switch over to McCree, which I actually like. I think it's pretty awkward to deal with a May comp when you can always just get one-tapped on Tracer.
He's going for it again!
Oh, he's so
and this time does not get the target. Shaz can breathe a sigh of relief. Alarm, the Cole in the middle. Poco's bomb catches Mirror. And the Gladiators still down one as they look to get anything going. And has to be Birdring on the McCree, looking for heads. Still getting poked down in return. Funny Astro under heavy assault. OG, though, can't get away. The front line for the Gladiators is down. And LA gonna have to give up point B here as the Fusion continue what's been, frankly, a roll. 4 minutes in the time bank.
Yeah, this is a great push so far, and Poco, to his credit, really playing well in this D.Va, just being such an annoyance to the LA Gladiators. Finally, the Gladiators are going to bring out the Orisa Sigma. I like this swap. I think this puts them in great position to get a good hold on last point, but it needs to be a great hold on last point if they want a chance, a good chance at least, of winning this map.
There's two stories here, Jake. There's the game between the teams, and then it's just me watching Carpe's ult charge and looking at Shaz. That's the main thing I'm worried about right now, where again, Carpe rotating around the back, continuing to distract the Gladiators. Building up ult right now on OG, and this is a problem that the Gladiators have had here, where they've had the change-up comps. Carpe is continuing to get poked from the back. We are going to lose the duplicate. Carpe forced back just a bit. But the Fusion, they're getting progress all the while here, Jake, and OG's in a real tough spot. He's not getting away.
Oh, just getting zerged down. Ivy forced to cryo freeze, but the Coalescence is going to keep him healthy, and Funny still has the beat. Perfect deployment of that resource. Nano not really going to be effective here on Mirror. He's mostly shooting beat damage. Poco trying to finish off that self-destruct, but finally there's a moment of potential weakness for the Fusion, but Carpe in the flank.
And Carpe just got done with Shaz, where he swapped armaments. No longer bombs, now fists. The beatdown continues. The Fusion still with momentum. Ivy dropping the Blizzard. Gets the wall off, saves himself on the other end. Carpe takes down Birdring, and the Fusion continue to snowball momentum here. And yeah, Shaz dead to Carpe again.
Really beautiful offense here by Philly. Gladiators making the comp swap, but just too little too late there. No ultimates available, and they just can't stabilize into Philly's snowball. So Philly, I think their comp was not in like a great matchup there, but because they have ultimate tempo, they stick with it, they're confident, and Carpe is just such a nuisance in the backline that the Gladiators, they just can't quite charge the ults fast enough. So it's a great work by Philly to get the snowball rolling and to have it be that heavy by the time they get to third point. But that's a place where we've seen a lot of teams fail to continue to snowball. We've seen them fall victim to those long attacker rollouts on third point. So great work to keep the pressure on. And Gladiators backs against the wall now. It's do or die in the May Melee.
So I have to ask here, because this has become one of the bigger stories, is that you look at the Gladiators struggling to keep supports alive, mostly because of Carpe. Look, it's not just all on Shaz here or anything of the sort. How do you protect your supports from Carpe at this point? Because more than anything else, this has been the #1 thing that's just been ruining the Gladiators here so far.
I just love the way Philly are playing this. It's almost a 5-1 split. You've got Carpe more or less doing his own thing, attacking backliners with almost no support. I mean, here's a point where Philly are just cleaning up, so Carpe does group up with his team. But, you know, for the most part, we've seen Carpe starting fights all on his own. It's almost impossible for him to receive heals in those positions, given that Alarm's running Moira. So Carpe just doing so much with so little. That's the mark of a true pro on Tracer. Not just only that they can succeed when they've got the Harmony, they've got the armor packs, and the team is building around them, diving in with Winston. But Carpe has pretty much no help, and he's still producing, still proving too difficult for Gladiators to shut down.
You know, nowhere in all of that did you say that Shaz should swap to Moira. I respect it. I respect you holding the line.
Please don't, Shaz. I want to see more Ana gameplay.
you just change all that. It's like, you can go to the hero that does a little bit better against Tracer. It's like, no, stay Ana. Fight the good fight. Take the high road.
Do the right thing, Shaz. Do the right thing.
Well, he is staying on Ana for now, so he's not giving into weakness. And his alarm is on Moira on the other side. And the Fusion, pretty cheeky here, up on the front. No, Carpe has Shaz in his sights again, but not going to be this time. I think the Fusion have to give up a little bit of space.
Wow, that's really impressive by Fusion. They take that fight right in front of the attacker spawn, and instead of committing, they just farm the ultimate charge and get out with all 6 players. So they're still going to have this great fight where they control the corner of the choke point with May, which is really where you want to fight, but it's very risky to fight forward, but it just pays off big time here as Alarm almost has his Coalescence.
Alarm very close to being able to dictate the flow of this fight. The players looking for something before that happens. Mirror getting quite low. Shaz getting low on the same end. Carpe's in the back line once more. This time, though, Shaz is able to fight it off. OG, though, a little bit too deep, gets caught. And the back line there, Jake, it was distracted. OG lost in heals for a moment, and that's all it took.
Yeah, this Coalescence is so deadly when it's supporting a team like the Fusion that wants to go in, that wants to be aggressive. Carpe pulse bombing the spawn, and Space has to go off the map too. Ooh, time bank really starting to hurt now. We're almost at the halfway point of just this first point time bank. So Gladiators, they've got to pull something out now, or it's going to be Philly Fusion advancing to face the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, the Fusion, they've hit just pure swagger mode, where the Gladiators are struggling to even move, while the Fusion just get to do, frankly, whatever they want. Birdring as a pulse bomb. It'd be a time to deliver. It would be now. Gladiators, Nano on the OG. OG trying to move forward, and oh, it gets frozen! The Nano not going to do much. The bump to the back! And Big Goose and Shaz blown up immediately. Really saving Shaz from Carpe at that point, but Birdring starting to pop off on his own. Ends up with 2 mirrors right there. The offense for the Gladiators desperately trying to get anything going.
Carpe does get that first initiation on a Birdring, and with that recall advantage, is going to be able to chase him down. Oh, doesn't finish the kill, though. Now Birdring's still in it with the help of Shaz. And Big Goose get back into the
fight. He goes Moira and takes down his worst enemy. He went to the low road, Jake, but the low road has avenged him against Carpe's relentless assault.
The dark side of the Force is apparently strong here. Shaz on the Moira, taking the full mirror here. Mirror as well on the Rhine. Almost has a shatter up.
Carpe's just like, you think your dark side magic will work? No, not in the least. Takes down the Moira. They go for the shatter, and Carpe jukes it. This is all Carpe. And the Gladiators, they are running out of time.
Ooh, Carpe, Carpe, Carpe.
Yeah, this is tough. For the
Yeah,
Gladiators,
that's going to be the full mirror, but it's last fight, and Philly has ult advantage. They've been holding fights with ult disadvantage, and the Poke Bomb was so beautiful last time. Now Shaz does have the Moira, so it's going to be a little bit easier for him to evade, but Poco's very deadly. Self-destruct kill here can spell disaster. Gladiators, they're desperate to get this card moving again.
I mean, they're just desperate to get early eliminations at this point. All the initiative has just gone out of the Gladiators. Carpe just going for the highly unlikely pulse bombs, because why not? Poco, though, caught. Sato with the shadow, takes down Shaz. The Gladiators, a decent chance here, especially if Mirror can regroup. Nope, Carpe's there, takes down Mirror. No regrouping, no healing. And the Fusion continuing to smother the point. It's just the front line of the Gladiators back, but a Rhine and a D.Va are not doing much with the Blizzard right on top of them. The Cole comes in from Chaz, but it's too little, too late. Overtime's ticking down. And Chaz is going to be one of the last ones here. Carpe finds Mirror, and down goes Bird Ring. And the Fusion dispatched the Gladiators in style here on Junkertown.
Yeah, and I proved very wrong on the compositional analysis there. Widow not needed by either of these teams. I think that's the power of the Tracer. One of those heroes that can kind of break the rules of the flank. And Carpe, I'm just so impressed by that composition, because that's an incredible amount of pressure to be putting on your Tracer. No heals, essentially, for the Tracer in the backline, and you're asking her to go in solo and still be a distraction, still be effective against heroes that can easily burst her down, right? Against an enemy Mei, on a Brig, you could get stunned or slept, and that's an easy kill from there. So for Carpe, the fact that he's still able to get so much done, still being not only a nuisance, but a real threat against Shaz, it's incredibly impressive performance on the Tracer.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like the Gladiators just did not have an answer regardless of what they did. And the thing that I always point to here is that the Gladiators earlier in the series, their initiations were crisp, Jake. I think at some point in the series, they lost their confidence in winning on the front line, where, in a sense, they were aware that they were getting crushed by Carpe in the back, but almost so aware that they were delaying their initiations, and by the time they went in, they had the problem that they didn't have the healing power they usually do, where you'd see when they would finally go in, OG would be almost left on his own because Shaz is looking over his corner for imminent doom. The Reaper was behind him at all points. And I'm talking about the Grim Reaper in the metaphorical sense, in the form of a Tracer. And that Tracer's name, it's our player of the match presented by Xfinity. It's Carpe, where, yeah, you saw it, we all saw it.
Yeah, well deserved by him. I think the Gladiators, they had their best moments playing that full dive mirror, but the moment Philly took them off their comfort zone and just refused that mirror, electing to go with that Moira Rhine comp, building around not only Carpe's Tracer getting so much work done, but they're also having Ivy on the Mei in the front line. So you've got this really dangerous front line that can freeze your enemies and just cut them down, isolate them, making it very difficult to play dive. And heroes like Winston can easily get caught by that. And at the same time, it's Carpe in the backline just being a huge distraction. Not only that, not only keeping Shaz off of his comfort zone, not letting Shaz put that full amount of healing that he's hoping to give to OG in space, but he's actually just pulse bombing him over and over and over again. I mean, once or twice, sure, whatever, that's to be expected, let's say, from a top level Tracer. But the fact that Carpe does it, 10 times this series, so many fights where I even called out beforehand, it should have been a caster curse. Like, Carpe's going to go for the pulse bomb. We'll see if he gets it. Oh, yeah, well, of course he hits it. So that's Carpe for you, playing really as good as we've ever seen him on the Tracer right now.
That was a one-man show towards the end. It kind of felt like Fusion got a little bit annoyed over the map they lost, where they just go, whoa, we lost a map? You think we're going to go to 5 just because our franchise history across both Overwatch League and Contenders shows that we love map 5? Yeah, do it 4. 4 maps is all it takes, and the last one was in style. And on that same note, Jake, it's hard to look at the Gladiators and just go, oh, the Gladiators were playing badly. I think they were much improved over some of their recent regular season performances. It's just when you're dealing with a player like Carpe that gets to do whatever he wants, it's playing at that high of a level, having a proper response is hard.
Yeah, in my mind, there's 2 big reasons that the Philly Fusion won this match. The first, Of course, our player of the match, Carpe, having a huge performance. But the second, to me, is goes on a wider space here for the Philly Fusion. It's the fact that they have all these different looks and these different compositional looks they can bring out with different rosters or different variations on the same roster. The fact that Gladiators felt corralled into really that one style, playing really well in the dive, but not so well in the other strategies, made me feel like really that Philly's just getting so much value out of this bigger roster and out of a coaching staff that has the intelligence and poise to really utilize it well.
Well, Chips' brother is on the coaching staff, so there's a lot of big brains that are over there. But yeah, I agree in full. This is a very stacked Fusion roster, and now we take a look at the bracket, and you see the Fusion, they've secured their semi-final berth for the matches tomorrow. And looking ahead, we still got one more match to decide here, Jake. Looking at Paris Valiant, that one, I'm really curious to see what the result is going to be.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very exciting one coming up next. We've got that rookie roster in the LA Valiant that have really been above all expectations. I thought this roster had a lot of potential at the beginning of the season, but I didn't realize the level that they would reach. KSP in particular, in my mind, on that Ashe, really shines out as a player who is just really latched onto that hero. We know he's completely absurd on the Widowmaker, but the fact that he's also producing on the Ashe makes me really bullish on this player's future.
And of course, the rest of the bracket, you think about the Shock. They were able to get through. Dallas was looking hotter than ever. The Mayhem continued to be excellent. Really, tomorrow is looking quite packed.
Yeah, there's a lot of great matchups going into the final of this May Melee tournament. Nothing like too shocking yet, but it's awesome to see these very top teams finally pitted against each other in that tournament format. Win or go home, pressure's on. There's no excuses here. There's no, oh, this hero pool is not good week for. No. This is Overwatch right now. Like, if you lose, there's no excuse. You just have to go back to the drawing board.
Well, of course, we need to bring some entertainment here, and that's why we've chosen a special person to interview. That's right, we got Zoe with Funny Astro.
Thank you so much, CP and Jake, and hello to Funny Astro. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, congratulations. You did only drop one map, but did you expect to drop one at all? Because you guys were very confident coming into this.
I don't think we expected to drop one map. We're really confident coming into this tournament, and we didn't think Gladiators were that strong. So we had a bunch of different strats prepared, and I guess our map 2-1 didn't work out.
Well, why do you think they actually managed to play it that close? Was there a specific individual or like the team player or game plan in general which surprised you?
I don't think so. I think we just got unlucky, actually.
Unlucky, okay.
Just unlucky.
Yeah, sometimes it be like that. Now, you said you had a lot of different game plans coming into this. I do wonder, you're the only teams which we consistently see subbing people in and out. Does that make it more complicated for you as someone who's a constant to, get used to all those different playstyles and different players?
I don't think it makes it too complicated, but I think it makes it way harder for the enemy team when we have like a million different people we can sub in and so many different things we could do that they can't see coming.
So do you not feel like eventually maybe people know what to expect? It's like, oh, okay, he's bringing in Hiso, so we're going to see this and that?
No. I don't think anyone's prepared for what we've got for this tournament.
Just so much depth. So it kind of sounds like we haven't even seen half of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not going to say too much, of course.
No, that's fine. That's a promise. And we're going to see you guys playing again tomorrow. It's going to be against the Mayhem. Did you guys have any time to watch the Mayhem's match today?
Yeah, we watched the Mayhem's match earlier. I don't think they were that good, so it should be pretty easy for us tomorrow. All
right. That's a lot of confidence. You don't think they held back anything at all? Do you think they gave it their all?
I think they gave it everything. Of course, Atlanta's a good team, so I doubt they're hiding anything.
All right. Well, I love that. I love the confidence. I can't wait to see what you guys have in store for us against the match against the Mayhem tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that was Funny Astro from the Fusion. We're now heading into a very quick break, and then we are back with the last match of the day, so stay tuned.